Welcome. Tonight's program will dive deep into fringe knowledge of lost, hidden, and suppressed truths about the nature of our reality. The decoding process can be uncomfortable and at times frightening. However, you are not alone on this journey of understanding. Welcome to the Shadow Bank podcast and welcome home.
Sup, dude?
Assaulted for those who died is first in the chat. Dude.
Nah, someone. Well, was the rabbit hole already? Did they already hit? Was that
Infinite
Ben
Rabbit
there?
Hole was first. Infinite Rabbit Hole was first. For those who died is second in the chat. Wah, wah.
For those who died, bro, that sounds like a band.
For those who died, it sounds like a book about Medal of Honor.
It sounds like a book that became a screamo band.
Speaking of for those who died, have you seen this controversy with Tim Kennedy going on right now in his book?
No.
You know who Tim Kennedy is, right?
Yeah, dude, TK, bro.
Yeah, former Green Beret, all that good stuff.
Hunting Hitler or whatever.
Yeah, he wrote this book like 2 years ago that came out, and like in this book, it's like he's talking about all like these these ops that they went on and like these firefights and this and that, and apparently some other like special forces dude who was like he knows people, he like did some investigating, called a bunch of other people that were on the same op, and come to find out like everything in Tim Kennedy's book is just like extremely over exaggerated.
It's a book, dude. It's not
but it's like
documentary.
He was making a good point. He's like, bro, like you're a Green Beret, you're doing cool shit. You don't have to exaggerate what you're doing. Like you don't have to be like, I was hanging off the side of the light armor vehicle with a satchel full of grenades. Like, no, you weren't, dude. No, you weren't.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, especially Tim, who did like all that, like that he had that show where it's Hard to Kill or whatever.
Yeah,
like he's done cool stuff forever. He's just been cool guy, Mr. Cool Guy, and then the Hunting Hitler or whatever it is, Chasing Hitler or Discovering Hitler or whatever, Touching Hitler. That show, it's cool stuff down in the Colonia Dignidad. Cool stuff. And then I mean he's done the rescue things and like he's done cool. I don't know. I don't know what's false. I don't know what's false. But this is the one thing though. We need more. We need to stop having a bunch of like, I don't know, man. To me, that's very childish. I was gonna say girly, but it's probably not. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not Jordan Peterson. I don't know if that's character assassination or whatever. But like, shut up. Who cares if he made some stuff up? He's a cool guy. So people were doing that with Goggins. People were doing that with Jocko, being like, well, he wasn't that great of a lieutenant or whatever. It's like, shut up.
bro,
Let the man cook.
In the chat that my mic is really quiet. Is this mic really quiet, bro? Am I having?
You're blowing my eardrums out right now.
Blowing Kramer's eardrums out right now.
I got to turn you down. My mic is way like I'm getting into the yellow. You talk.
Talk, test. Hello.
Not getting into the yellow.
Not getting into the yellow, so something's up.
You're low gain, dude.
Hold up. I gotta somehow drag my mouse over to Crystal's monitor. Way over there. Click the app. Bada boosh, bada boosh.
And let's just roll those levels up a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna do that as soon as I can figure out.
Let's just roll those levels up a little bit. I was singing Creed on the way home and just,
They're doing a comeback, bro.
They're gonna be at the Amway or whatever on my birthday weekend, dude. I want to go, but I don't know any Creed songs besides "Can You Take Me Higher?" That's all I know. Oh, and With Arms Wide Open, obviously. Duh. How's it going?
Is this better?
It's much better.
Is this much better? Chat,
Yeah.
is this better? Please, chat, please, please, please.
It's better. I can see it.
I need
Visually.
confirmation.
Confirmation.
Okay, it's better. We got confirmation.
We got confirmation. I can only sing but so much Creed to kind of.
Jade's
Make
here. Jade, why aren't you on the show with us, Jade?
We're talking about a reunion.
Boo this girl.
We're talking reunions, man.
That's cool, man.
We should have a reunion episode.
It's all right, Jade. I know you're busy. I know you got stuff going on. You're incubating. It's a thing. Can't hear you, brother. Can my okay? See, don't do that to me, bro. Hold on, give me 1 second. Oh, yep. Anyway, so what are we talking about, bro? What's been going on in the world? You see anything cool? Anything crazy happening lately?
I saw your supervillain Matt Gaetz has decided to step out of the race. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Sorry.
right.
Did he say why that was? I saw that.
Dude, he looks like Quagmire. That like huge bottom of the face. Dude said giggity giggity and hopped out, man.
Yeah, he definitely has that look. We talked about that before. Like,
Yeah, man.
you know,
I tried to stick up for him because he went and got some surgery and looked real super villainy, and then he kind of like the swelling came down, and I was like, it's not that bad. But now I've seen pictures of him again, and he's Quagmired out, dude.
so what was the whole deal? Like, I don't know what happened, to be honest with you. Was it sexual assault allegations? Okay, Crystal just informed me. Stay informed.
Quagmire, dude. Dude, straight
This is
Quagmire.
normal.
Dude. Say, giggity giggity.
Okay, so does he? Well, obviously he's not going to come out and be like, "Yeah, I did it," right? But like, this is something that seems to me that happens to politicians and people on the right a lot. Right?
Oh, you're saying he's getting Kavanaugh?
Yeah, he's getting Kavanaugh. Exactly.
Could be, man. I don't know. But this is also something that people in power do a lot. They go,
All right, let me say, I say that he might be getting Kavanaugh. Also, I think that he's still involved in the parasite lizard class, and there's a good chance he was on Epstein's Island and or Diddy parties and or take your pick, right? It's like I'm
that's the crap we know about, dude.
right. I'm just saying it seems like, and you know what else I've noticed lately, right? We talked about this last week with like all the escalations in Russia and all this and Ukraine and
Yep.
you know Biden basically gave the green light for us to use those ATACMS missiles, and then Russia fired back with some intercontinental ballistic missiles, and now we're on this whole thing like NATO's actually talking about possibly sending nukes to Ukraine. Okay, that's happened. That was today, I heard. All right. So it seems to me like they're doing everything they can to just sabotage Trump before he can get in office. Let the nukes fly. World War III. And if World War III doesn't happen before he gets in office, set the stage so that he's just fucked.
Yeah. But like, if he is, we are. You know? It's almost like you go in and you're about to hit a second term and then a pandemic happens.
Right.
Right?
It's almost like something like that. Yeah.
It's almost like that.
My producer has just handed me some intel here. Exclusive ethics committee told of second sexual encounter between Matt Gaetz and 17-year-old at party. Sources say. I want to know who these sources are. Now I know
I want to know who these 17-year-olds are.
that too.
How are they all 17? Dalia, Disrespect, Gates. Come on. What's happening here?
You know what I think that is, man? I think there's a multitude of things. I think number one, you know, if you just look at a chick, you know, just in passing, there's no way to tell between a 17 and an 18-year-old girl, right? Like they're the same. You look at them, there's no way to know, right? That's number one. So these girls, like, and a 17-year-old girl, you know, they're out there doing the same promiscuous stuff that 24-year-old girls are doing, right? So there's no reason to think that those girls aren't out there, you know, trying to get into powerful positions, right? Or whatever. That's one. But number two is I think that there is like this weird thing because of what I just said, that they try to like label these guys like, oh, look, he was messing around with a 17-year-old girl. And it kind of leaves it in that weird spot where you know for a fact there's going to be some people that will argue, she's 17. And then other people will be like, no, she's 17. And it just creates this weird like gray zone that we can all like just
Yeah.
bitch and argue about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's like, one, there's just levels to the stuff, man. I don't necessarily want to get into all of it because it's bad all the way around. It's just
not a fun topic.
it's not a fun topic. Everybody's messed up, and people make mistakes on both sides. There's this allure to power and clout and prestige and all that stuff that like young people have an affinity for. And then, there's that kind of, it's the opposite. When you're in a place of power, it's like the youthful or the young, whatever. It's just, there's some kind of draw between the two. And it's, it's what has old men draft boys into war and girls into the service, their private services. It's what they do. So I don't know, man. It's not good. But at the same time, it's like these guys keep like riding the line. And it's like, are we really all of them? All 17?
Well, I think, a part of it might be also part of the blackmail threat type thing is, you don't necessarily, and again, I'm not defending Matt Gaetz here in this particular
No, this is not we're ignorant of this.
Right. I'm
situation.
just talking generally speaking when it comes to like politicians and how these like honeypot, like blackmail situations work, right? These Epstein Island situations work, right? I'd be willing to bet that there are people that had never been to Epstein's Island that they still have dirt on as if they went to Epstein's Island. Does this make sense? Because
Yes.
especially in the technology today, we joke about it all the time. It's not really a joke. Like, get on the wrong side of intelligence agencies, they'll just drop some CP on your computer, right? Like, it's a joke, but it's not. But you don't think that they can also do that to like these politicians? Like, and this is what my conspiracy mind thinks happens behind the scenes is they show up to these people. Like, if Matt Gaetz gets nominated to be attorney general, bro, Deep State's fucked. I'm sorry. Okay. So Deep State doesn't want this. Deep State literally does two things. They put mainstream media to task and start blasting this story. Boom, messing around with 17-year-old girls. Then they go to Gaetz on the back end and they say, hey, brother, we know you weren't really, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We control the information. And what we say, like, and they can point to lists. Look what happened to Kavanaugh. Look what we're doing to Trump. I mean, you just go down the line, right? So he doesn't necessarily even have to do the thing. They can still use this 17-year-old situation as just a blackmail thing.
Yeah, and it's like it could be like that could be the least of the sins, and they could be like, we got way more on you, but we're just gonna put the 17-year-old out and you play ball with us. All right.
See, that's what I think the Epstein thing really was, right? A lot of people talk about Epstein as if it was just this trafficking situation or just this, like these underage, that whole thing. I personally think that if you got into the weeds of it, there's probably like occult sacrificial practices happening, like
can be weird stuff, man.
Super demonic, like magic practices that they were doing on that island. Like that's what I think was really going on. But of course they can't tell us all that. They just have to leave it at the first layer. Like, hey man, there was some shady business going on with kids and stuff over there. And it's like, that's terrible enough that we don't have to tell them like they were also summoning demons and sacrificing people like that.
Yeah, sacrificing people, getting them all pregged out and then sacrificing the babies. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can go, you get adrenochrome. Well, you get all the stuff, dude. It's like a factory for that crap, dude. It's just, it's sick. It's sick.
We talked about that, the baby factories, remember?
Yeah, they're in Ethiopia or whatever in Africa.
Yeah, man.
And then he's got that ranch too. He still has ranch. Is still fun. Can we get tabs on the ranch?
Can we get a
can we get a status check on the ranch, please?
Crystal, can we get a quick search from you since I don't have capabilities anymore? What was it called? Oh, you got to pull the tab over to your screen. You just totally
Epstein's Ranch.
Epstein's New Mexico Ranch.
Yeah, dude.
Type that Epstein's New Mexico Ranch and then hit the news tab. I want to see what the most recent news.
There's no news. That's what's crazy, dude.
We're gonna find out.
I bet you it's gonna be a 2022 article, dude.
What's
January 10th, 2024 is the last article.
January this year?
All right.
Somebody
bought it.
Was it BlackRock? Does it say?
August of 2023, listed for 18 million, and it was bought in August of 2023 after 2 years on the market.
All right, you find who. Just
Whoa,
figure
dude.
out who. Let us know who bought it. That's interesting to me.
Holy moly! Somebody bought the Epstein Ranch, man. What
Right, that's
sicko?
And here's why it's interesting to me, because if my thesis is correct, right, and they were doing like actual like demonic practices on these places, there's
Who bought it?
something there.
Who bought it? Who do you think?
Who bought it?
Let's put a guess out there.
Because now they got the
Details are
portals.
still confidential.
Still confidential.
It's got to be Bill Gates, dude.
Oh,
It's gotta be one of his boys, dude. It's Gates. It's Bill Gates, not Matt Gates.
Let's see if they updated it.
It's gotta be friggin' a Bill Gates or a BlackRock or who's the main guy from BlackRock?
Larry Fink.
Fink. Larry Fink.
I don't
Larry
think he is
Fink.
anymore though. I think that.
No, he stepped down, but you know those guys. It's got to be some.
San Rafael LLC bought the ranch.
San Rafael LLC. So
Yeah,
there
I
you go.
guarantee
Shell
you go.
Shell company.
We're getting back to somebody, dude. Who owns San Rafael? Dude, this is okay. Now she's gonna catch the bug, dude. She's gonna do what I've been doing.
Yeah. Once she does this a few times, she's gonna be like,
Who owns this? Who owns that? And she's gonna be on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in 25 seconds, dude.
We're gonna have a fucking board back here soon, man. We still need to make this conspiracy.
We need to make the conspiracy theory board, but guess what? The middle of it's gonna be the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and all roads lead there, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Literally.
That's great.
Sickos. Somebody bought that $18 million. Imagine the real estate agent that was trying to sell that place.
$18 million for Epstein's ranch in New Mexico, dude. What's there? That's what I want to know. What's in the basement, right? Like, I want to know what altar is in the basement. I want to know what, what do they call the big vat that they would like? I don't know how much you can say on Twitch and stuff, but like, remember the big vats that you see in the movies, right? And that's like where they would do like the bloodletting or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Okay.
I'm throwing up quotes here, the bloodletting.
Reddit says, as of 8 months ago, the current owner lists a Charles V. Henry as the registered agent. He is a 12 and younger boys lacrosse coach.
Oh, no!
Come on.
Oh, no, dude!
Charles V. Henry,
The fourth attorney at law.
Oh, no! Dude, and he's a lawyer?
he's a lawyer and he's a fucking 12 and under boys lacrosse
Oh,
thing. He buys
no.
Epstein's ranch.
Oh, no, dude. That's not good, bro. Those kids are good. They ain't playing lacrosse, bro. I tell you that, dude.
Bad dad.
Damn.
Oh, no.
I hate to see it, bro.
Guess what the first clip of this episode's going to be? Oh, no.
10 miles from where the kids play.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
According to Reddit, allegedly.
Okay, according to Reddit, I get it.
Allegedly.
I get it, but God, that's
We've obtained documents.
that is
There we are. That's the world we're in.
that's not good.
Yeah, man. Everybody's giving RFK shit for apparently eating a McDonald's
whale?
sandwich.
Or something. Oh, yeah.
Wait, a
McDonald's
whale?
sandwich.
What happened with the whales?
You don't know about the whale story,
No,
dude?
what happened with the whales?
It's like years, decades ago. Like a whale or something washed up on a beach, and he, I don't know, he took the whale with his family and stuck it on his car, and it was all bloated and disgusting, and they ate it. And apparently, it's illegal to eat a whale in New York or
What
something
if
like
it's
that.
already dead, though?
I don't know, man.
I know it's
People
illegal
are-
to like hunt whales, of course, right? Whales are cool. You don't want to do that.
I guess they didn't call PETA or like Fish and Wildlife or something. They just took it, and I guess you're removing it from a habitat. I don't know. It's illegal. People were trying to get him
Yeah.
on that.
That's true, I guess, because like we go fishing a lot, and there's like dead gators and stuff out there, and you're not supposed to hunt gators unless you have a tag, and it's like a lottery for the tag. So
Yeah.
if I just grabbed one off the street, how do they know I didn't?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like, yeah, some guy eating McDonald's or eating a whale. It's like he's a falconer, dude. He's going to be a little bit weird.
Okay, so eating whale is illegal, and I agree that it's probably immoral, but is it not good for you?
Eskimos did it. Are we allowed to call them that? Inuit?
Inuit, Inuit eat it. Japanese, you know, not even just the Japanese, but like all up the those
Polynesian
islands
islands and stuff. Yeah, they'd be eating whale, dude.
there. Yeah,
I'm sure a
East
couple.
Asian.
I'm sure a couple Aussies get in there.
Yeah.
Sure, they eat a couple whales every year. Crikey, that's a big whale. Look at it.
State transactions and litigations.
So she found the guy who bought Epstein's spots LinkedIn. He specializes in what?
Real estate transactions and litigations, commercial and corporate law, construction law for contracts and disputes, and insurance law for claims and coverage, including title.
How does this guy have 18 million to drop on?
No, I that, didn't
Law firm in New Mexico.
didn't Epstein, wasn't he a real estate guy?
Wait, was this Epstein's lawyer? Not the lawyer that he had at the time, but I wonder if this guy was like
Ever represented him?
ever represented him, or maybe he was just a friend on the side, you know, a lawyer friend on the side.
Dude, I'm sure you don't get into buy Epstein's ranch without knowing some Epstein, you know, cross some paths at some point.
And here's the thing, man. You saw what happened to Alex Jones last week?
No.
Okay, this is crazy.
They're coming after Jones again
No, this is crazy. Okay,
after the 2 billion?
listen. So that they hit him for trillion. I think it was.
No, it wasn't trillion.
Yes. No. I swear to God. What was Alex Jones's?
No, it's 200 billion or something.
What was the full amount Alex Jones was supposed to pay? Obviously, before they like whatever they did, but yeah, it was like $1 trillion, dude. Okay, some insane number. It was like the GDP of France. Okay, I'm not kidding.
It's crazy. What'd they do to Jones now, man? Leave that man alone.
Yeah, the Sandy Hook one.
965 million.
No, that's. I think that's what he ended up having to liquidate everything for, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but anyway, here's what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's an auction, right? Because he's bankrupt, you know, the whole Sandy Hook lawsuit, so he has to like pay out all his money, whatever. So there's an auction for InfoWars. Then, out of nowhere, apparently there was bids that were made. I forget what they called it, what the term is, but there was like the highest bidder didn't win. Okay, they decided who won. There was other bids on the side that the other bidders didn't know about. It was like a shady deal. Okay.
What?
Turns out the Onion buys InfoWars.
Oh, no.
Yes. Okay. But wait, it gets better. There's more. Right. So that whole day, everybody's like, oh, Alex Jones is done. Ha ha. The Onion got it. Like, how ironic. Like, you know what I mean? They were like quoting Elon when he says stuff like, you know, the most ironic and funny outcome is the most probable. Right. They're like doing this type of thing. Alex Jones, first of all, already had another platform ready to go. And he already has billionaires behind him that are backing him. Like, he's good to go, right? He's squared away. But the next day, Alex Jones shows up in InfoWars studio holding the sink. Like the reference to the, like, let that sink in.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, I'm here. He's like, they didn't get the studio because it was a shady auction deal. And he fucking sued. And right now, it's gone the other way. Now Alex Jones and Info like is on the offensive here because the shady auction to the Onion. It's like, you can't. When are these people going to learn, man? You can't keep going after these people because every time you do, number one, they get bigger, and number two, you're usually wrong. They usually catch you.
Dude, if he buys the Onion,
1.5 billion. You're right. I thought it was
1.5 Bs, dude. Yeah, I thought it was just under 2 Bs.
That's insane.
That is insane, dude. I mean, who can pay that? He's not a billionaire.
I mean,
He's probably barely even a millionaire anymore. That's insane, man. But dude, so they try to steal basically his network from him.
Yeah. Oops, I did not mean to do that. You can close that.
That's crazy, man. People need to leave Jones alone, dude. The guy is literally prophesied before, like crazy stuff.
Yeah, he called the Osama bin Laden thing.
Whole thing, knew about it.
I think in March, if I'm not mistaken, in March of 2001. Alex Jones was on air saying that the CIA was basically setting up this whole situation and they were going to blame a dude in Afghanistan named Osama bin Laden. That was
Crazy, dude.
6 months almost before.
Crazy. And he was telling them, like, call your state legislature and tell them, your state senator and stuff, and tell them, call the Pentagon and tell them what's happening. And it's just like, and then also called Epstein, also called and infiltrated the Bohemian Grove, blew that thing wide open. It's like, let the man cook, dude.
Yeah. Let the man
How do you love politicians so much that you're like the guy that exposes them? How do you love politicians that much? I don't understand.
I think it's not, man. I think it's just people that are compromised, dude. They're either compromised, right? Honeypotted, Epstein, whatever. They're just dumb, just totally uneducated. Not even uneducated, because you could be educated and still be dumb. Uninformed, I should say, right? Just completely uninformed, living in their own worldview. And honestly, I think that's most of it. You know, I heard a statistic. I don't know if this is true. I heard this from this election that just happened, right?
Say it like it's true.
Okay. Trump wins the electoral votes. He wins the popular vote. Okay. Republicans take everything. Okay. Complete sweep. If you look at the county map, it's all red. Like every freaking county in the United States, for the most part, okay, voted for Trump, right? Only a select few counties, the ones that we already basically knew were going to, voted for Harris. Here's the thing. Here's the stat. Washington, D.C., apparently like 95% voted for Harris. So this just goes to show you, like, these people in Washington, D.C. that run all the shit, pass all the laws and regulations and everything else, they are on the opposite frequency from the people, right? The people want certain things and they want something totally different, and there are representatives. Like,
Yeah,
that's
man.
the problem.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get a more stark contrast than that, where it's like everybody's leaning this way, but the people we elect to represent us are going that way. You're out of touch, man. You're out of touch, and the system's broken.
Yeah.
It's like all of them should be recalled immediately.
Yeah.
All of them.
It needs to be like, I don't know. I mean, they
The
always talk
voting
about,
in there should match exactly what their representative states are.
yeah, it should.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't, then there needs to be like investigations, like serious investigations, like, okay, why? Like, who's
Yeah.
giving you money? Who's on the side asking you for favors?
Yeah. Who's
Right,
got
'cause
like
that's
an appointment waiting for you? You know, oh, if we win, we got a nice place for you. We could use your endorsement.
I mean, you think about how much money it costs to run some of these like campaigns, right? I was listening to like Vivek Ramaswamy talk about how much like it was like tens of millions of dollars. I think he said he spent like $30 million of his own money, right, trying to run. And it's like, bro, that's so much money. The only way that a lot of these people get that money, right? Even if it's not for presidential, I know that local ones are not that much, but still, they're dealings on the side, man. And like there has to be an actual check and balance for that, because it doesn't seem like there is. And I feel like that's the real problem. So when you ask the question, like, do these people just like these people? No, man. I think that like they're just in their own bubble, dude. Like they have no idea anything outside their bubble.
Yeah, man. It's like, Fetterman was saying that. I might have brought it up already once, but it's like, how do you spend tens of millions of dollars for for like a $240,000 job, $165,000 job? How that math just doesn't math at all. You're never going to get that back.
Yeah.
So the only way you can get it back is through lobbying, people paying you, like lobbyists or whatever, and like insider trading, and then hiding your gains through. I bet you a bunch of the insider trading you can hide in some way from speaking at those companies you've invested in. as like a
Yeah, the shell
a
company.
seminar cost or whatever, and so you just go like speak there, and
Right. Well,
they
that's
pay you.
that's a big thing, man. I mean, like a lot of these politicians do that right now. Like Bill Clinton was charged. I remember the number. Bill Clinton was charged like $150,000 or some ridiculous amount of money to come talk at some place, right? And it's
Yeah.
like that's part of it. The other part of it is a lot of these politicians, not necessarily presidents, but like congressmen and senators, they end up getting positions in these big corporations or like organizations, right? So like the FDA, right? Or like, these a lot of NGOs, and that's what happens, man. They just make millions of dollars. They don't give a shit about what they're writing down and laws they're passing, right? Like, and again, going back to the stark difference between like the county map of who voted for this guy and then like Washington D.C. and who voted for this guy, it's like clearly just totally out of touch.
So to bring this in like a more conspiracy kind of route, I guess, like this is a tale as old as time, but like, where does it start? We're talking lizard people or eagle snake.
Yes.
Where does that start?
It's man, listen, I don't often get this deep into it, but like I think that it's an actual literal like good and evil situation. Okay? Like we used to talk about this back in the day on the show, right? The spiritual warfare thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like I truly believe that there is like an actual elements of good and evil that have been fighting in this reality forever, right? So like, you could call it demonic forces or interdimensional entities, right? That's the thing too, man. Back in the day, they called them angels and demons,
Yeah.
right? It's 2025. We call a lot of stuff different now than we called it back then.
That's true.
Now we call it interdimensional. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make that connection for people, right? Like, I don't think there's anything different between demons and interdimensional entities or angels and interdimensional entities. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it was like angels and demons and gods and whatever, and then we changed it to like aliens and interdimensional beings. It's like same thing. Could be.
Yeah, well, aliens is a little different, right? If it's beings coming from another rock floating in space here, like that's a little different.
Well, I'm saying what they would have, if an alien had visited back then, they're not going to know rock floating in space. They're going to think they're going to think God, some kind of ancient, they might still call it a demon. So it's like, we could just be blurring everything and being like, well, that was what was something that's out in space come here, and that's a God. And then what is interdimensional is angel, demon, spiritual things. Maybe they were keen on differentiating between the two. I don't know. I don't think we today in pop culture are keen on differentiating. I think most people are like, there's no spiritual stuff, and there may be something floating out on a rock somewhere that has visited us. But I think a lot of people are just tuned out and then just vote.
Yeah, no, I think I agree 100%, man. I think the biggest issue is really that I think in the last, I don't know, 50 or 60 years, there's obviously been a clear push to like get rid of religion, like organized religion, or at least like demonize it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm guilty of that too, right? Like, I'm not a fan of like organized religion, right? Like, you put me in a big, huge church, mega church situation, like it's gross, it's not it. But I think because of that, right? Like, it's allowed all of this shit to happen, like realistically. Like, if you want to get down to it, I think that you push out like, I don't even know how you would say this, right? Now, I know your beliefs and what you would probably say, right? You get rid of God, right? You push God out of society, and then boom, right? Society starts to fucking crumble and collapse, and like you have all this shit going on.
There's no like higher standard. You only have to hold yourself up to what is socially acceptable to hold yourself up to, and that just keeps going lower. So it's like,
well, yeah, now
this is cool, but let's like normalize it. Not like, let's normalize this, and then that becomes the thing, and then let's bring it down and normalize this, base thing that we should be ashamed of, and then it's like there's no objective like this is good, this is bad, and let's not ever. There's no North Star for be like, hey, we're kind of off track. Let's get over here. You're out in limbo. You're in space. You don't know what's up and down.
Yeah, well, there's something about like societal structures, like cultures of people coming together and operating that way. Because what's happening right now, I think, is that they're putting us all into individual boxes, like individualism, right?
Yeah.
Like on one hand is good, right? Because you could look at it positively, like you have individual responsibility and like all these
Yeah.
people that talk about like that kind of thing. But you know, there's no like real moral standard for a lot of shit like you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, I could be a cat and piss in a litter box because that's it's 2025 and like that's what I identify as and like that's what I'm doing and that's
Yeah.
me. And it's just like, okay, you know, if we put you back in like ancient Greece or something and you acted
You're
that way,
dead.
right, because like you are required to uphold certain things and certain values in the society you exist
Yeah.
in order for that society to like continue to operate positively, right? And
But
everybody would hold
in
each other accountable.
in those societies too, like ancient ones, they knew how detrimental life was, so fragile, and like existence was so difficult to make it, that anybody who stood in the way of what is progress, you're out. You're out.
Yeah.
You know, so you come in here being like, well, I'm this. And it's like, all right, have fun trying to find someone who's going to feed you because you have no other skills. You got no skills.
Yeah.
You know,
I
or
heard, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I was probably just going to say, I've totally lost my train of thought.
Oh, my bad. I don't know who I heard this from, but like, and I don't remember exactly who they were talking about, so I'm just gonna throw a name out here, but you get it. Like Socrates or one of these guys that was like executed back in the day for whatever heresy or whatever the hell the situation was. From what I understand, like there was actually an option given in those days. It was like either execution or ostracism, like kick you out of society. And a lot of the people actually chose death because like it was just as bad, because if you got kicked out of, you know, your city or your village or your town or whatever, your society, and you went over to the next society over, they would almost immediately, you know, fall into tribalism, figure out that you're the enemy and kill
They're
you
going
anyways.
to kill you, dude.
Right. So it's like,
why does your
most of
beard
these-
look different?
yeah, and I think that that's where you get like these depictions in movies, right? Where it's like, you know, they go to like execute. What was it in? What's that movie? The show with the Vikings? I think it's called Vikings, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was in Vikings when they went to do like the Blood Eagle situation, right? And they were executing like the head of the other tribe of Vikings or whatever, you know. But like, you know, he walks out all like honorably and like, you know, it's like a moment where it's like, I'm a Viking. I know what's coming, right?
Yeah.
I'm a man. I'm going to deal with it. Like, there's no crying out for pain. You know, that thing.
Yeah.
I think that comes from what I was just talking about. You know?
Yeah, man. But that's the whole thing. It's like you stand up, you do the right thing, and you take your lumps when it comes to you. And I think we're moving more toward that. What you were describing reminds me of Gladiator, when they take Maximus out into the woods, and he's like, "At least give me a clean death, a soldier's death." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, you're gonna go out friggin' like a champ."
Yeah, it's like
And-
better than being ostracized and just
Yeah, just thrown out, or like having to go and like, now that you were like a tirade across the coast, now you got to go to like Carthage or something and be like, "Will you guys take me?" Like, pretty sure you're the general that was killing us. That kind of deal. It's tough out there, but like you couldn't. It was very difficult to be out of the like. Being not normal is a luxury. Being kind of weird and quirky and I don't really fit into a box and all that, that's a luxury. That's a first world luxury. Being something, whatever the norm, what would they call that? Not, I don't know, divergent in any way. It's like, yes, sometimes people are born certain ways, but they have to kind of like adapt and figure their thing out. You need to try to, like, society needs to try to put them on some sort of a productive path and try to have them assimilate. And I think that our society now, in a large part, it's tough because media is one thing. There's like an alternate universe out there where like those kinds of things are glorified and maximized and all that kind of stuff. And maybe it's not as true in the rest of society, but it's like those people are not productive and they don't. Here's the danger. The not normal society, the no rules, anything goes, no shame, no norms, no higher calling, no good and evil kind of deal, like just everything goes, they always get wiped out. They always get wiped out by the super traditional, everybody kind of falls into their role machine of a country will just roll in and destroy.
Yep.
And they take it. And it's like, you almost can't even fault them because like, well, you're ruining it. So someone has to come in here and yes, it's a bloodbath, but you're ruining it. So we're going to take it from you.
I actually have a little bit of optimism, to be honest with you, man, because just like in the last couple of weeks, I've seen some stuff.
Things are swinging.
Where, yeah, things are swinging, man. It wasn't just like a political shift that happened. It does really seem like there's like a cultural shift going back the other way where it's like, wait a minute, we've been putting up with this shit for like one too many years now. Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about here? Let's rewind and rethink some of this.
Yeah.
I think that we're seeing that right now. So like,
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, and like I think it's a good time too, man. We're getting the pod back on. We're getting some streaming stuff. I got some extracurricular activities happening and stuff. Like things are moving. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna hit it. We're gonna hit it real nice. I am optimistic.
This stream has been crispy the whole time.
I think so. I've seen your video kind of like pixelate for split second, like once or twice.
Yeah.
But other than that,
that's just because it's uploading at the same time. But on her screen, I'm watching like live at the same time. It's
crispy.
Everything.
Oh yeah, you're super blurry for me, but I got the phone over here, and you've been crispy like literally 99.9% of the time, so that's good. And I think I might have froze for like a split second. So yeah, I think anyway, I think things are going in an opposite direction, which is good. But it's like we can't mess this thing up, and I don't know why. I get the sense that there's a not small group of people that do want, and this could be the lizards, they do want to see the crumble. They do want to see the collapse. And why? You live here.
Well,
it's like, do they think that they're going to be part of the next group?
They're not actually lizards, man. Right?
The lizards.
They're not physical beings, right? The at least in my perspective, the lizard people aren't actually physical beings that are lizards, like shape shifting into human beings, right? Like that's the what do you call it? Like when you're making fun of something, or you have like a really shitty version of it.
Parody.
It's like the straw man version of the reptilian thing, in my opinion. Yeah. I personally think that it's just more likely interdimensional or demonic entities that are parasitic, right? They operate off the reptilian portion of the brain. We all have like this reptilian part of our brain, right? Like it's all your instincts and like all these types of things. I think that these beings operate on that frequency, right? So we don't necessarily perceive them with our conscious mind. Our subconscious mind perceives them, right? On that base level, that reptilian level. And these interdimensional or demonic entities, I think that they just feed off of negativity, literally. I think they literally, the interdimensional psychic vampire joke, quote unquote, is not a joke, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, Alex Jones, whatever. It's the reason I always repeat it is because it makes perfect fucking sense. They're interdimensional psychic vampires.
Yeah, they feed off of you and your mental energy.
Yeah, literally.
It changes the way that you think. It has to, because something happens, man. Something changes. You see like a friggin' switch get flipped, and it's like normal people don't think like that. Something happened.
So, when you ask like, do they, they live here too? No, they don't. They live in a different plane, a different reality, like a different dimension, however you want to frame it, a different realm, okay? A spiritual realm, if you will. Right? They live there. They're just operating here like this is some sort of battery or food source, right? And that's what I think is really going on. And I think it has been going on for thousands and thousands and millions of years, however long human beings have been here, right? So when they cull the populations, right? When they mud flood the shit, or they, whatever they do, when they do all that kind of stuff, I think that it's like feast, man. It's like Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, all right, boys, let's grub out. We don't do
Yeah,
this
it's
once in
very
a while, so let's get together and grub out.
it's very weird. It almost reminds me of like some ancient stuff, like when Pharaoh, with Moses, and he's like, any normal person, if those things were happening, they'd go, all right, they could take the people. Weird stuff's happening. You take them, get them out of here. Like his original, I didn't even, until I read it again recently, I didn't even remember. He first just asked, can we leave to go worship and then come back? He didn't even, it wasn't to just free them. But it ultimately turned into that. And it's like, if someone asked you, hey, can we take the group out a couple of days journey and we'll just worship and we'll come right back. We're going to honor our word. And you'd be like, probably no. But then when the sky's dark in the middle of the day, I'd be like, all right, guys, this is this is out of control. Or there was another really weird story where this country took the ark, whatever, like the weird like cryptic box thing that has like Moses' staff and like a jar of manna, and the ark. They took the ark. They took it, stole it. They didn't actually steal it. They beat Israel and then took the ark. And is there a movie?
Yeah, it was Harrison.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. No, well, it's kind of it's similar like that. They probably inspired by it, but like the story goes like this: they took the ark and they stick it in their temple next to their god Dagon, Catholic priest. And so it's in there, and they're like, "Hey, party!" Woo! They come out the next morning, and Dagon has his huge statue has fallen over, and they're like, "What the heck?" So they get all the guys together, they lift up Dagon, and they're like, that was weird. And so then they're like, anyway, we beat Israel, sweet. Woo! And they're having a party. And then the next day they come out and Dagon is cut in half, like laser cut in half. And they're like, get that thing out of here. It's like, they know there's like a switch that flips where like they know immediately. A normal person would go, oh, that's something. But instead of like, this is what I'm saying, like there's something, instead of being like, oh, well, maybe our statue thing is not that cool. Maybe this thing's cool and we should figure out what this thing is. They're like, just get it out. We want to go back to the statue. We want to go back to chopping people up and burning babies and stuff. Like that's what we want to go back to. And they send the ark out. Just weird. Normal people, I would think, you don't think like that. If I had a freaking magical box on my back porch that was like destroyed my phone because I spent too much time on it, I'd be like, all right, I'm done with the phone, dude. I got a magical box here.
I think that Ark of the Covenant might just be like a story or like allegory towards what I always talk about with the Lucifer's technology, right? Like that these demonic interdimensional entities, they over the course of history have like, call it possessed people, right? Or at least directed certain people through life, right? To do certain things and invent certain technologies that push whatever, food agenda they have, and again, when we're talking about like interdimensional entities, man, like time is something that we experience in this dimension, right? We don't know what time is in this other realm. So they could be playing a game for 5 minutes with us, and for us, it takes 12 million years. So,
yeah, it could be on a totally different thing. But even like still with like whatever the story, real or allegory, whatever, it's the switch in the brain that just is like off. It's just carried through time.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, where's the origin of this? Is it like an actual bloodline? Is it an actual, or is it really just a good and evil that and anybody can be susceptible to? But then like there's like little gravity centers of where it's like maximum.
I think it's it's hard to say, right? But I've heard, and this is just shit I've heard, but I've heard that there's like ancient stone tablets or scrolls that they've found somewhere, and I don't remember what culture it was, but they talk about that there was like this golden age period and like everything was cool, and then all of a sudden like other humans, like other beings that looked like them but weren't quite them came, and like that was the start. And I think I heard about that getting into that eagle versus serpent thing, so it's making me wonder, like, is that the whatever was going on here, there was advanced, and I don't mean like spacefaring advanced, I just mean like advanced humans here. They were doing like crazy stonework. They were building megalithic structures, pyramids and shit all around the world, like aligning stuff to astronomical stuff. Like they were really advanced, way more advanced than they would tell us. And I think that goes back way further than the timeline. And then I think at some point in the timeline, something happened, whether it was beings physically came here from another rock in space or out of the ground or whatever it was. Like the beings showed up that were also super intelligent, and that there was some type of fight. And during or after that situation is when you start to see like the flip that happened, where like now human beings aren't living cohesively, they're warring and fighting, and like, you know, they're talking about the gods and like all these types of things. Like there is a time before that written down on stuff right now, whether mainstream archaeology wants to accept those as like facts or not, I don't know, but I know that there's stuff that goes back like way back talking about, hey man, we were cool until we weren't, and that's because something else, whatever it was.
Yeah, man. It's just like, how does something like that, if it is like, let's just hypothetically say that there is some sort of ancestral thread that runs through. How crazy that actually makes it through time. That agenda, like that power. You know, it's like what we were just talking about a couple weeks ago with we were talking about how when Alex Jones was saying that the king is related to Vlad the Impaler.
Oh yeah, dude.
And it's like, how is this a thing? How is it like such a thing that everybody can kind of see it's a thing? The Rothschilds and the what are the other ones? Rockefellers. How is it a thing that like generation after generation after generation after generation after generation, you just got a group of families that just sit at the top and never come down?
Because they cull the populations when the time comes. Every
It's
time
crazy.
that it's necessary, when people start getting a little too froggy, they're like, right? And look, dude, look what's happening right now, bro. They're literally about to start throwing nukes at each other, bro. They're literally like, you know, we talk about this all the time, like jokingly, but like actually just in the last week, it's gone from like, hey, there's a war in Ukraine and with Russia, like nobody really gives a shit, stop sending them money, to, bro, they're firing intercontinental ballistic missiles at each other, and NATO's about to start sending nukes to Ukraine for what? Just to hold on to them, just to like
NATO has nukes.
NATO? Yes, multiple countries that are we're part of NATO. We have nukes.
Yeah, we better not be sending nothing.
Right. So
nobody wants that smoke. But yeah, you're right.
My point is, I'm not trying to freak everybody out or anything, but like, you know, I truly believe they cull the populations, man. And I think that we're on the cusp of one of these. And like, there's two timelines, bro. And I think that who was I? Man, I listened to too many people. I can't keep track of who the fuck I listen to anymore. I was listening to somebody, man, and they were talking about this alternate timelines. I think it was on Rogan. There's this guy on Rogan. He's talking about multiple timelines. He's like, one of them was Trump getting killed that day that they shot him in the ear. That was a split off different timeline, right? And then the second one was like him winning that election, right? Because there's two different timelines, right? Now I think we're on the cusp of another one. Like, does dude make it? Do I get paid for my bet? Or
Yeah, seriously.
do nukes start flying?
It could be all of the above, man. It could be Trump gets in, nukes start flying, we get into some kind of ground war over there, but it's not going to be. I just saw a video of guys sitting in a trench, shaking, and you can hear drones just. And the caption was like, "This new war style sucks."
Don't worry, guys. In the
Can you
trenches.
imagine?
Don't worry, guys. That NATO is going to send. How many do they have?
An estimated 4,223 nuclear warheads.
Don't worry, NATO's going to send some of their 4,200 nukes your way just in case.
Yeah, I mean, just
Boys in the trenches.
The
Just hold
United-
tight.
The United States, France, and the UK maintain control over them because they're the ones that own them.
Right. And
And then they're in Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Turkey.
they're all over there. The thing
God.
is in those, it's funny because the US, the UK, and France are the three countries that are really like just itching to get in there, bro. The UK wanted to allow Ukraine to fire those long range missiles. Okay. The Ukraine wanted to allow it, but they literally said, we won't greenlight that until Biden greenlights it. Well, Biden greenlit it. So we shot our, okay, we allowed Ukraine to shoot our missiles there. The UK allowed Ukraine to shoot their missiles there into Russia. Okay. And Putin's already said, boom, red line. Okay. And France, there's already been people like French soldiers have been training Ukraine soldiers over there. France wants to put boots on the ground. They've already talked about wanting to put boots on the ground in Ukraine. So it's like funny.
They've already talked about wanting to put boots
on the ground. It's funny to me that the three countries that hold the most nukes that are talking about sending them to Ukraine are also the three countries that are the most like primed up, ready to go, like just itchy fingers, you know?
it's like, I don't know, man. Have we not had wars? Have we not had world wars before? Not too long ago. You know, the dude says, I don't know if it's the dude, Laus.
Zos was in the chat. What's up, bro?
It says Laus. I think it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow.
Laus says the only way you can combat drone warfare is an EMP weapon. It's like
Right.
this is Halo now. Now we're in Halo and Call of Duty.
They have drone weapons, but my whole thing about the drones thing is that you send enough of them and enough of an angle, like you're done skis. And I'm a dum-dum. That's the thing. I'm a dum-dum. And I already got the plan figured out. My first plan, like, give me a drone game, right, where we like make drones and do warfare on the game. I'm winning the game immediately because I'm taking every drone from every angle, 360 around you at different intervals. So like, there's no way that you can combat that. And if I'm thinking this is a dum-dum, China, Iran, Russia, everybody else is thinking about this too.
Yeah. Nah, man. It's just what kind of war are we going to be in? If they do go and pop stuff off where like your enemy is sitting in like a controller with a headset on, like, what is this? And why are we wanting to start this crap? It's like, I don't get it, man.
The most evil fucking.
The alliance.
It's
Yeah.
literally in their documents on NATO's website.
The alliance.
Call themselves the alliance.
It's so funny to me, man, when you have a conspiratorial slant in your thinking, okay? I notice this all the time, Crystal. Is like when I see how like the governments like talk about or label themselves, it's so creepy. It's so empire.
It's so Dr. Evil, bro.
It's so Dr. Evil, like the alliance. Don't worry, the NATO alliance will send nuclear weapons to Ukraine to defend against the Russian invasion.
Yeah, they dress up like Klaus Schwab and call themselves
The
the
alliance
Alliance.
of evil. The alliance of interdimensional psychic vampires.
Yeah, didn't last time we do that, we had like Axis and Allied and stuff.
Yeah, bro.
We see how that turned out. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a history buff and I'm really not, but it doesn't seem good. And I don't understand the end goal aside from just like resetting the game with maybe this is what it is, dude. They get to reset the game. They get the second playthrough. You keep all the cool stuff you got from the first playthrough, and you get to run a second playthrough. And it's just a big game to them. Like, oh, I got all these cheat codes. I made all this money. I understand how Bitcoin works now. And I'd be way more successful if I knew how cryptocurrency works and AI works if this was the 1950s. So let's bomb us back to the 1950s. And I'm going to stay alive, and I'm going to have 2024, 2025 technology in a 1950s or even earlier 1600s population.
I don't even think that that's the case. I don't even think it's that 3D reality. I think literally, like I was saying before, that the demonic entities, man, the interdimensional entities, they're pushing for the callings. I don't think the human beings that they possess and that they take control of and manipulate throughout their lives, I think those people are actual NPCs, dude, actual dumb NPCs that just literally are just going with the flow, and they're being puppeteered, bro, right? The master of puppets is interdimensional, dude.
I mean, it makes sense, man. It's like, it makes enough sense to where it's probably pretty likely. It's just like, but again, it's that whole like treating life like it's a game. Like they're in GTA, these demons, these interdimensional beings, and they're just causing mayhem with cheat codes on. You know, they're like, oh, I can't die, so I'm just gonna wreck the whole server until it's just not fun anymore, and I'm gonna go somewhere else. It's just like, is that what it is? Is that what it's like? Is that how we? You're glitchy.
I'm glitchy.
Yeah, now you are.
Yeah, you're glitchy, man.
Am I good now?
It's getting better.
Sorry.
Getting better.
Probably
But-
my internet.
Slazzles used to be at NPC. He says, well, hey, man, welcome. We all used to be.
an NPC. Listen, man,
You can watch old episodes and watch me become aware.
Dude, old episodes are gold for that reason.
Yeah.
I still talk about that all the time. When I tell people about this show, I always reference like the first 12 or 15 episodes. And I'm like, you got to start there because like there, you do see a journey,
It's a journey.
you know, with you and Jade, you know, because when we came in, man, first
I
episode,
knew nothing about conspiracy theories. Nothing. You're talking about friggin' those sleep things and the teleporting, the Lusitania, not the Lusitania, but whatever that ship was. And I was like, what the heck is this, dude?
the thing that was cool about that, and I'd like to figure out a way to do that kind of thing again. I might do it with Crystal now that she's here, even though she's already on board. But you know, the cool thing about that was that we were stuck in the room together for like an hour or two,
Yeah.
and it was no getting out of it, right?
Yeah.
Because when I have these types of conversations with just like my friends or people in my life, of course they're trying to get out of this conversation. So, right? But like in that scenario, it's like, no, we're gonna do
I have
a
you trapped.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we have a podcast about this stuff. So let's sit down together. You're gonna listen to the things that I'm saying, believe it or not, and then you were there on the background pulling stuff up.
That's what's
So
nice
it
about
was-
the producer seat. You get to like
Yeah,
sit
it-
there and go like, ooh, oh, what the heck?
Yeah.
You get to like find it out. That's the fun part about conspiracies is where you like you find a connection. You go, ooh, Bill Gates.
And I did not go soft on you guys either. I came in on episode 1 super deep, super hot.
We were
right?
talking Saturn.
Yeah,
we were
the Bay
talking.
Ops,
Yeah,
Saturn
I was
Moon
like,
Matrix shit. Like
I
way
think like
deep.
episode 6 or 7, we were on Kandahar Giants and stuff. It was pretty nuts.
Yeah, man, good times. But
Are we sliding over to the Patreon? You want to do that this week or start it next week?
we can start sliding over to Patreon. I mean, obviously, the people that are here in Twitch right now will still be
Bye-bye.
with us, but everybody
Will
who's
they?
listening on like Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this, that's not Twitch. You're gonna have to listen to the rest of this probably on Patreon, I guess, right?
I don't know. I thought we'd just keep recording. I don't know how this crap works, guys.
Yeah,
You're
we
getting
just
some
keep going.
behind the scenes.
We're gonna keep it riding right now.
Oh, we just
and
cut
then
it.
I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna put the second half of this from now on. We'll go on to Patreon.
Patreon time, guys. Thanks for watching and join the Patreon. We're going to get some exclusive behind the scenes. And I think what I would like to do, start of the year, we're having maybe for New Year's, I don't know. We'll watch the friggin' opening ceremony of the CERN.
Oh,
And
the
then-
Gothard base tunnel.
Yeah, and then also I want to buy the tapes, and we can
Tapes from
we can listen to
Gateway.
some focus tapes. Gateway process. Oh, dude, start astral projecting. We'll do a whole astral projection episode. We'll just sit here like Gates' Quagmire.
Nut it out and just listen.
I don't know about that, dude. All right. We'll put that on
Man,
put
the
that
right
on
frequency
OnlyFans,
hits.
dude.
The right frequency hits, man.
Dude, could you imagine an astral projection OnlyFans? Just got the headphones on, just like, whoa! Patreon episodes hot already, dude.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I guess everybody who's still here with us in the chat, you get the Patreon experience for free because you're cool enough to be here live. So
Yeah, thank you for joining.
thank you very much. Also follow us on X. I'm gonna drop a link. Boom, get wrecked.
Yo, actually hit him with an ad real quick. 'Cause I gotta go grab a drink.
All right, I'm gonna hit you guys with an ad real quick.
And we'll be right back, guys. I lost somebody already. It said no ads. The ads didn't work. Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right here. That's hilarious, guys. Look, we're still working the stuff out, man. It's all right. Anyway, now that I've got you all to myself, I have things to tell you. Just kidding. I got nothing. Yeah, we tried.
You're on you.
We tried.
You're on YouTube watching me right now.
Is that
Hi,
your mom?
Mom.
Mom's on. Sup, Jeff's mom.
That's funny.
No, it's not.
Yes, I am live though. Yeah.
All right. Tell her to go to bed. It's bedtime.
This is all going on the Patreon. This whole situation is going on the Patreon. Let me call you back in a little bit. We know. Give Crystal a microphone. She's yelling at me because you don't have a microphone. We know.
Okay, we'll get an extra mic. We can hear just fine, honestly.
All right. Love you. Bye. Oh my gosh,
I love
guys.
your mom.
Sorry. Mom called. What are you going to do?
Mama Jeff. Got to pick up
What
the
are
phone.
you going to do?
You gonna answer
Yeah.
the phone?
Of course. So
The ads didn't work.
the ads didn't work.
I know, dude. You just shut your camera off. I left. I came back, and I'm looking at myself on the phone, and dude's like, "No ads, bro." I was like, "Oh, all right." It's
It
stupid.
worked yesterday when we tried.
Yeah, we
Kid
just took
was
a
here, kid saw.
free break. We just took a free break.
Pointed out that
Kid
it didn't
kid
work.
confirmed yesterday. I don't know what happened. Anyways, so what were we talking about? We were talking about some super deep spiritual warfare stuff, right?
We were talking about I don't know, man, all kinds of stuff. I think that. Oh, you said the ads worked.
Yesterday.
Oh yeah, yesterday. I got you. Okay, I'm getting confused, dude. Alternate timeline. You know, confused. I don't know what timeline you watched these in yesterday.
Yep.
We did talk about some. I think Slaus was talking alternate branch theory. I believe it is alternative branch theory of branch reality. Branch reality. I was throwing extra adjectives in there. Branch
Oh yeah,
reality.
branch
like,
reality. I like that concept.
yeah, which I've always thought of it kind of like a waves, right? and they collapse, and like that's the one you land on, and then boom, and that's the one you land on. It's like all these possibilities, and they converge, and boom, that's whatever the one that your conscious is like picking up. Because there is possibilities out there. I could go and run and put my head through the door, but that wave, that part of that is like so way up there, it's not going to happen. But I am going to clap my hands, and you know, and like that's the energy that I put into that thing. It influences where the wave goes.
Well, that's exactly what they're talking about. What is it, like string theory? Not, is it string theory or quantum?
String theory was my band in high school, so I don't think we're talking about that.
No, it was like
I don't. You don't know about them.
one of these theories that these super smarter than me people are talking about right now is
Quantum
that,
entanglement.
yeah, it's one of these, right, where they're literally talking about that these particles are like blinking in and out like so fast that you have no idea, like infinitely fast, okay? And that these, yeah, the entanglement thing, like these particles are like tied to each other and one can affect the other no matter how far they are away from each other instantaneously, like fuck the speed of light, that doesn't even matter. They're just tied to each other, like, you know, magically, essentially. So yeah, man, I think that's exactly what's happening, man. I think that what happens is and it depends on your frequency too, right? This is what I always talk about with like flow state stuff and like, you know, these negative entities that are feeding on lower vibrations, lower energies, right? When
Yeah.
you're in that low frequency state, that's when these entities want to feed on you. When you're in a high vibrational state, this is some hippie stuff. Everybody's gonna be like, "You're a fucking hippie, Joe," but it's true, dude.
It got to be true. I mean, and no one, people, anybody who's been in like a bar or a crowded area and there's tension, there's evil afoot. You can feel it. You can feel like everybody's about to pop. Like somebody is about to set it off. Like you can feel the wave is like, it's going to crash. And then somebody's energy just hits and boom. And then it's a full brawl. It's a big fight. It's a whatever. It used to happen all the time when I was a state trooper. You'd be talking to somebody, there'd be a group of people, and then you're just like, you could just feel it. You don't even necessarily know who it is, but somebody's got ill intentions right now. And you can just, the hairs raise up and you're like, ooh, something's about to happen. You can feel it. The energy wave, you're in it. You're like, whoa, I'm getting pulled towards a physical altercation.
Well, if there is like infinite, and this is an if because it's all theoretical shit, but like if there is infinite universes, infinite timelines, however you want to put this, infinite realities, then there's no reason to think that as every particle in existence is blinking in and out of existence, right, that every possibility is happening all the time as well. So this is what we talked about a long time ago, and you told me that story where you could have sworn when you were a trooper, you drove off the side of the shoulder or something, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, man. I mean, I like to think this, even if it's just my own way of like coping with the thought of death and my own mortality, right? And the way I think about that sometimes is, hey, man, like you're probably dying every instant in every possible way, but your consciousness leaps to the next reality where that didn't happen. So you're just constantly in this like flow across the ether, right?
Yeah.
Through these possibilities.
You're getting carried on the stream, whatever, the one that actually makes it down to an end point. There's all other endpoints, but for whatever reason, you get caught in this wave and it goes,
And you go the full run as your conscious being, right?
Yeah.
But for everybody else, right, they will also take that journey for their conscious being. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so to give you the example, like in that one reality, you did drive off the shoulder and that was the end of you.
hey, dude.
Your consciousness immediately shifted to the next reality where you didn't, and you just kept going. But also in the same instant,
I overcorrected
you overcorrected,
and I turned into a bowl of spaghetti.
right? And then in the same instant again, you had a heart attack. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could be, man. We got in the chat, Joanne says, is depression low frequency? I don't know, man. You got to put a lot of energy into being depressed. So I think that it's probably high frequency. You're probably too high frequency. You got like gamma ray beams just focused in on one area. I think it's high frequency. We got to lower your vibrations down to be a little normal again. Focusing way too much on yourself.
I'm no doctor, right? So I can't tell you, but in my opinion, the things like depression are number one, over categorized, I guess is the right way to put it. Like too many
Everything's
things-
depression.
Yeah, like too many things are depression or too many things are anxiety. And it's like,
Yeah.
is that really the problem, or is it like the red 40 that you're consuming every day, right? Or is it the
Chemical
the
imbalance,
alcohol, right? Or is
hormone
it the lack of
imbalance.
sleep, hormone imbalance? Is it
Is it the Bluetooth headphones? Is it the?
no, dude? It's you know what it is? It's anxiety every single time. It's 5G is what it is. No, but what I'm trying to get at is that I think that yes, depression is a low vibrational energy state, right? It's a low frequency, and you know that because it makes you feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, the
I was joking.
interdimensional beings, the demonic beings will feed off of that low vibrational energy, which is also interesting because you see a lot more people who have these low vibrational states all the time. And you're also seeing like what seems to me like our society just kind of crumbling and decaying into fucking chaos, right? So it's like, man, I wonder if some demonic entities are literally just infesting our reality and just like sucking the low energy from people everywhere, just feeding on that shit. And because of that, right, a side effect of that is they're about to start launching nukes at each other, right?
Yeah, it should take you out of the game. It definitely could. I think, like, when it comes to your own perception of reality, it's your own perception of reality. And a lot of that is you got antennas and you've got ways of interpreting things. You've got bandwidth. Can have a big bandwidth, and the more bandwidth you have to absorb what's going on, a lot of times you can distill that and then have a reasonable reaction to it. Other times you cannot. And I think that like SSRIs and some of these things, they like will either really open your bandwidth or really close it. And they like try to chemically dial you in on something that it's not like, that's not the problem is not necessarily that the chemicals are imbalanced, that something's wrong and so the chemicals are imbalanced or whatever it could be. So yeah, it's definitely like there's people who are just depressive. They are just negative.
Sure.
They always look at the glass half empty. Then there's like sad stuff happens and you're sad. You have to be sad. You know what I mean? Like dudes that come back from war should be disturbed.
Well, I think that's a big problem with like this culture that we've been like living through for the last decade, is like this concept that like because you're sad about something, all right, because you have like a traumatic event happen to you or something like that somehow carries out into like this a huge other ordeal. And when you let's use the word like affirm that, for a lot of people psychologically, they'll take that and run with that shit, right? There's a lot of people who you tell them like, hey, no, you just have depression, and then that person will literally be like, the doctor told me I have depression, and like boom, you just put them in a low vibrational state for the rest of their fucking life.
Dude, let me tell you a story, because it literally did happen to me and people that I know, right? There's a person in my family that got told they had a thing, and it was like, now they have that thing, and that just defines their life. I'm like not a better person or anything. My doctor was nice. I got a nasty back injury, relatively nasty. It was nasty for me. I could barely stand up, got 2 herniated discs in my lower back, really messed it up. I was being just really dumb. Hurt myself at the gym twice, like back-to-back days. I was just so stupid. I had no idea what I was doing. But if I sneezed, fall over. Fell down a concrete set of stairs because I got a spasm in my back. It was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I couldn't figure out. I was getting real sad about it. I could not figure out what was wrong. Stretching didn't work. Like nothing worked. I could feel the pain all the time. I was sad about it. I went to the doctor. I was like, I don't want to get surgery, but I'll take like injections or something just to numb it. And so he's like, I don't know, man. You're a young guy. You probably heal out of it. Just do what feels comfortable. Move what feels comfortable. Stretch. You'll be fine. You'll be all right. No injections. I'm not doing anything for you. And I was like, what? And I'm not kidding, dude. The next day, I was like, whoa, dude, I can move again. It was like something just switched. My body was like, oh, we can heal this? Let's heal it.
There's a reason that it's not just like my own, like, I'm just thinking about this shit too. Like, there's actual, when it comes to like psychedelics, for instance, right? A lot of people who go and do like psychedelic therapies, right? Like they're using it for addiction and like all types of like depression, anxiety, all these types of things. And the reason for that is because especially things like psilocybin, right? Psilocybin like creates new neuron pathways in the brain. It literally rewires the brain. Okay. Now, I'm not saying like you should just go out and like take a bunch of psilocybin. I'm saying like in these therapeutic sessions, right, with these people who are like trained and like they know what they're doing, the dosages are all like scientific and everything else. You know, they're having these effects where people are literally going. You listen to Sean Ryan, right? Sean Ryan's podcast.
Yeah.
He talks about this all the time. He went down to Mexico and he did one of these
Ibogaine, yeah.
Ibogaine, right? And his intention wasn't even to quit drinking. It wasn't even a thought on his radar. He didn't even think he had a problem. But when he did that, he just didn't even want alcohol anymore. It just wasn't even appealing to him. Not because it was gross or anything. He just didn't crave it. And it was like he became sober because of these new pathways that were carved through the brain using this treatment. And it's like, to me, and psychedelics are just an enhanced version of what the brain can do by itself, right? Or that what you can do to the brain. You don't have to do psychedelics to do these things, right? This is what all the yogis and shit have always talked about, right? Like if you do yoga or if you do certain meditations or if you fast or if you know, there's a whole list of things that you can do to put your brain in altered states of consciousness, okay?
Higher
naturally,
states.
right? Higher vibrational states of consciousness. So there are ways that you can bring yourself out of the lower vibration, which we would classify depression in the lower vibration, into a higher vibration without the use of anything, not even psychedelics, just like you could literally just start working out, meditating, eating healthy, doing all the things that those people talk about, and I guarantee you it'll do it. Literally, I've been in like a weird like rut in the last month or two, right? With there's people moving in my life, and there's just like the house has been a fucking clusterfuck. Work sucks, obviously, like the whole nine, right? So me and Crystal were literally like, we just started only buying stuff to do like this carnivore situation, right?
You're on carnivore?
Not 100%, but listen, I've only had pork loin, steak, some vegetables, cheese, and eggs for the last 2 days straight. Right?
Yeah. How are the poops?
I've pooped fine the last 2 days. It's only been 2 days,
Dude,
right?
all right. I heard the dumps get
We haven't really got into it.
cataclysmic, dude.
But my point that I'm trying to make is, right, in order to bring myself out of this weird little rut that I've been in, right, mentally, I'm not going to go be like, I've got this thing, and then go talk to a guy. And I'm not hating on people who do that. Do your thing, bro. Like, if it helps you. I'm just telling you.
Talking
how
does
I
help.
deal with it. This is how I deal with this type of stuff. Is I'll make a drastic shift in my habits or my environment or both. So move or start a whole bunch of new habits, like force start them, right? I'm one that likes to partake in the medical cannabinoids. I don't know what you can say on Twitch, but you know, I personally enjoy that. Sometimes in my life, I have to tell myself, stop and don't do that for a few months.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's just another one of these things. I have to shift my environment and my habits in order to bring myself into a higher, what I feel is a higher state anyways.
Yeah, a lot of time. I mean, I've heard some people who are like really brutal about lower vibration stuff, either anxiety or depression or whatever, and they're like, "That's a luxury. If your life was difficult, if your life was actually difficult, you wouldn't have the unexplainable, right? Obviously, somebody you love passed away. You got relationship issues, financial issues, you're a crippling injury, something like that. Yes, you're gonna have low moods. The energy's gonna be bad. That's understandable. But the inexplicable, everything's fine. I don't know why I feel bad. It's like your life's too easy. There could be something to that, man. Honestly, I anytime that I'm feeling real bad, I just, I start getting up a little earlier, and I intentionally, like, I'll start praying, or I'll just be intentionally thankful about the day. I'll make sure that I thank the Lord for a good day, even if I didn't think the day was good. That it was another day, and I thank Him for the good parts of it. I
weren't
enjoyed
getting
my lunch or
bombed in
whatever.
Syria.
Yeah, just
You weren't in the trenches in Ukraine or some
Yeah.
crazy situation. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So there's a couple times where I'd be like, Lord, I'm thankful that my life is so easy that I could be still sad about it for no reason. Like, that's crazy to have a life that's just that much, like, just cake. But also, there's something to the fasting, what you said before, bringing the mind up. And there was a couple of days, I think it was maybe like a day and a half, I could have been closer to the 2-day mark, that I was doing a fast. And sometimes I'll take a shower, like, in the dark, just pitch black, and it's almost like a deprivation tank kind of deal, whatever those are. And so it's just pitch black, and it just the sound of the water, and just I was just standing, like, so still. And I swear I was this close to jumping out of the timeline, or the mind, like, going somewhere. Like
astral projecting or something.
I don't know. It's inexplainable, but it's like what people say when they're, like, on a trip or something, and it's like I rocketed out of my body kind of deal. I was, like, right there on the edge, and I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back. Like,
Well,
it was so crazy.
yeah, you'll always come back.
Yeah,
from
you'll
what
always
I
come back.
understand.
Well-
But, like, I mean, this is real stuff, man. Like, people think that this is just like hippie woo woo stuff that we're talking about, or spiritualism, or whatever you want to call it. But, like, I could literally pull up, like, CIA Army intelligence documents of them talking about that they proved this is real, and they know how to implement it, like, strategically and with a whole system and a process. They have the tapes that Creamer was talking about getting, the focus tapes. Like, they have a whole the CIA and Army intelligence in 1984 knew that this was real. So
Yeah,
this
you'll
is
all
not
see.
just
We're gonna watch
hippie
them.
talk. Yeah.
No,
Got
definitely. There's something to the fasting and to the deprivation, and kind of just letting the mind, like, amplify, and those mind waves amplify and just build and build and build. There's something to that, man. But that's one reason why I've always been like, I can't do the mind altering anything. I can't get high, I can't trip, because I can almost do it on my own. I think I'd go, just be gone. I don't trust my own brain. I've seen glitches. You ever seen a glitch in the Matrix?
Oh, I've seen stuff you wouldn't believe.
Like, actual, like, I was going to my closet one time, and I, like, opened something, and I moved, and I literally, obviously it wasn't an actual pixel, but I felt like there was, like, a square that just, like, right here in my vision. And I was like, what the heck was that, dude? I was like, is there something here? Somebody in, like, an invisible suit that I can't.
Yeah, and that's your brain, dude.
Yeah, brain was freaking tripping, dude, for no reason.
It glitched out. One of the molecules that one of the other molecules was tied to, something happened to it. So it was like, oh.
Well, it's funny you say that. And we were talking about CERN earlier. Like, one of the things with the Hadron Collider, they discovered that they could do this thing because apparently this happens out in nature for real. Particles from all over, wherever. There's billions of them all over the place, trillions and zillions. They will hit at super high speeds and cause, like, these mini black holes. What if that happens, like, in you?
Okay.
Imagine that.
Can you pull something up for me? This is wild. You just made me think of something. Look up, scientists discover what a photon looks like.
Oh, I saw
You see this shit? You see this shit?
No.
Okay, so apparently, I don't know how much you want to believe it, but
Can you share it on the screen?
yeah, we're gonna share it on the screen.
Okay. I want to see it.
It's that one right here. Yep, click on that. Okay, give me this.
Take it away.
Share screen. Screen. Okay, here it is. Sorry, it made me do the damn thing. This green one here, the one that's like expanded.
Yeah.
It's like blue green, right? This is what a photon looks like. Look at the bottom. Scientists revealed the shape of a single photon for the first time. For anybody who doesn't know, a photon is light. Okay, it's a light particle slash wave, right? Depending on like where you're at with this whole quantum thing. But this is a light particle. Okay, now I want you to look at it. Would you look at it? Would you look at it?
Just look at it. Would you just look at it?
What does it look like to you?
An eye?
Is it not interesting to you that the photon, the light particle, which really is meaningless without an eye to look at it, looks like the eye?
Bro.
Did what I say make sense? Did I fuck that up?
No, I mean, it's just like, what are the odds that the thing that it interacts with, it also looks like?
Right. It's like a mirroring or a fractal, maybe,
Yeah.
of like, it's like, to me, this is like as above, so below. This is what the ancients' secret knowledge was when they talked about this kind of stuff and they put it into like these ancient texts, right? Is that, and it's not just this example. It's like you could go fractal with it, right? We could go up the chain or down the chain, right? Quantum or macro, however you want to go. And it's like this type of stuff is what happens, where it's like the photon, again, I'll say it again, the photon, which really doesn't even matter unless there's an eye to see the photon, looks like the eye.
Bro. That is crazy, man. How did they get a picture of it?
I don't know, bro. It's a simulation, dude. It's a simulation, bro.
I mean, you know what's kind of crazy too is when I first saw like the mathematical rendering of a black hole, kind of looks like an eye too.
Do you know how holograms work?
Nope.
So this is okay, like holographic universe. This is a good example that could go into holographic universe theory stuff. Basically, what you do is you have a laser or a light beam, okay, and you have information in that light beam, right? And you essentially are like refracting or diffusing that light with a medium of some kind, right? And then through that, you can get what we would call a hologram. Okay, so imagine like the projectors at school back in the day, and like they had like the film with like the paper and like the pictures on it, and they would lay it down on this two-dimensional surface, right? That was like backlit, and that would project onto the screen, right? But imagine if that projection onto the screen was like a three-dimensional object and not a two-dimensional object. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you could somehow have like a piece of film, and this is not an accurate depiction of holograms, so don't fuck me in the comments, but I'm trying to break this down for the layman here. But holographic universe basically is the idea that, you know, there is some projection out there, some two-dimensional surface that is projecting out this three-dimensional reality. So if they're zooming way in on a photon and like they're finding out like, hey, this is what a photon looks like, one light particle, right? That's got to be at like almost like a two-dimensional type level down there, right? Like there's not really a third dimension at that scale, I would imagine. So is that like the holographic universe principle where like this two-dimensional eye, the thing that interacts with light and is light, is like projecting out for us to see it? It's like the concept of like you're creating reality as you perceive it. Your consciousness is literally looking out into reality. Particles are interacting off of your observation, right? Like that's scientifically proven, right? So are you literally like creating the realities by just experiencing the particles in your vision? And is that photon like that two-dimensional eyeball, like a projection, like a
Well, what's
projector
interesting
on
is
thing
like
showing you
the
this?
the way that we see the photon is in a two-dimensional. So it's like the information that we're getting is the hologram. Perhaps.
Right. Yeah, this is-
Mayhaps. So like perhaps what it is it's a higher, it's like a fifth dimensional thing. And we're the projection. And
well,
so
that's
like
what-
but then who's observing our projection?
well, that's the fractal idea of the things, right? It's like,
It's just like early episode brain cramps.
yeah, this is the fractal idea of it all, right? It's super hard to like talk about fractals for myself. I can visualize it in my mind, but it's hard for me to explain it. But like to me, that's what it is. It's like we can peer down all the way down to a photon and like see this little thing, or we could peer all the way out and up and see like the what they call this microwave background radiation, the Big Bang of the universe, which I don't know if that's real or not, but it's like, and you're talking about another fifth dimension projecting down onto us or from us one way or the other, and another layer above that, and how many infinite dimensions are there going through?
Yeah, it's like when kids go and make a game inside of Minecraft using redstone blocks. It's like what are you doing? You made a game inside of a game using a game. And we're in a game. So then how far back does this go, dude? Are we a game inside of a game inside of a game?
Well, you remember what I was talking about before with Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, Saturn moon matrix, holographic universe. This is all connected, okay? Remember, the Demiurge Yaldabaoth thinks it's God, but it exists within true God's realm. It's just not aware of it, right? It can't peer out to the higher dimension, just like we can't peer out to a higher dimension. We could peer down into lower dimensions. We're starting to develop the technological abilities to do that, right? But we're not really able to peer out into higher dimensions. Maybe one, but not multiple, right? So that's the idea of the Demiurge, was that he is the god of this reality, this material universe, but it still exists within the higher realm that was created by God, and it just has no idea. It can't peer that far, right? So that's like a fractal idea as well.
Yeah,
like the same type of thing.
Yeah, that's the first visualization I think I ever had of that, and I didn't even know it, was the outro to the Men in Black movie. Do you remember that?
Yeah, man.
They just keep zooming out, and it's just a different universe. Like our galaxies are just like marbles to an alien, and they're like, it just keeps going out and out and out, and it's all these like, there's a whole universe inside of a marble, and then inside of that there's our thing. And then what's really crazy is that we're making all of these other universes, basically, like that as above so below, or like we're made in the image and the likeness of a creator. And then so all we do is create, like we've made our own internet, we've made our own simulation where there's a whole online, I mean, look at what we're doing right now. You're not even, I'm like locked into this, and it's kind of tough for me to like snap myself out and hold on. I'm in a room talking into a microphone to a guy like 30 miles away
Weird,
from
right?
me.
Like we've
It's
created a
super
portal.
weird. And then other people are just sitting in a room watching it, sitting on the toilet or doing whatever they're doing, ignoring their family, listening to us talk. And it's like we've made our own like our own Mount Hernon, where we commune with, you know what I mean? Or like our own temple kind of deal where we can commune with each other through like like we've done it. We have our online personas and who people believe us to be versus who we actually are, and like this whole other universe that we've created. And then we get the robots, dude. We're actually going to make something in our image and in our likeness. And it's like, ooh, dude, what the heck is that?
I think it's just the fractal nature of the universe, man. I
It
think it's just
really
the way
is.
the ebbs and flow. I think there's certain like laws of nature, right, that aren't even recognized currently as laws of nature. And I think one of them is like the fractal aspect of it. I think another one of them, like we were talking about, with like the wave aspect of it all.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything is just riding through waves, right? Like the frequencies and all that. So I think we'll get there. I think at some point, and maybe soon, once AI starts coming out and it starts, because it's gonna be way smarter than people, and once it starts figuring stuff out, it's gonna be real quick. And I think it's gonna come out and it's gonna start talking to us like, "Hey, man, you guys realize that we're in like a holographic, like, wave energy ether universe. Like everything is happening all at once, and like every possibility is possible all at the same time. Like it's some crazy deep hippie shit. It's
Could be, man. Follow me on this real quick, though. 'Cause, all right. So let's say God creates man in his image, and then we are creators ourselves. Now, it's documented that we've gotten supernaturally nuked and limited because of the advancement, right? A few times we've gotten reset. Then we create something in our image that is growing and advancing, and it will also, by the very nature, start to create its own thing at some point. But prior to that, I feel like we're going to now be in the God seat and have to go, we got to reset this thing. We got to nuke this thing because it's progressing too fast. But if we don't, it's almost like the flood didn't happen, the Tower of Babel didn't happen, the Younger Dryas, whatever impact didn't happen. And like, ooh, like what? If we didn't get reset, what would happen? So I feel like there's almost like a tendency out in the world to be like, let's not reset this thing and let's see what would have happened to us if we didn't get reset. But then like if the trend continues and then that thing is then going to create in its image, what the heck does that look like?
Okay, so this is, now you're making me think about what Jeremy from Infinite Rabbit Hole talks about sometimes with the UAPs and the UFOs, right? I don't know if he like fully believes this, but I've heard him like say this
Postulate
before.
the idea.
Postulate the idea. So you have to go listen to the show and hear it for yourself. But he talks about them being like us from the future, like time travel police, like time cops, right? Somehow that these craft are going back through time to like stop nukes from going off, like to whatever they're doing, right? They're like pulling certain strings, whatever they're doing to keep us from nuking ourselves into oblivion, because for whatever reason, like, well, not whatever reason, obviously, like nobody wants to get wiped out, right? So it's like, but I thought that's interesting. I'm like, man, maybe that is what's going on with the UFOs, man. Maybe it is, or maybe it's not us from the future. Maybe it's like some spiritual entities. Maybe it's angelic entities that are showing up and they're like, hey, maybe people are literally launching nukes, man. I mean, I've heard stories on the internet. I mean, who knows that, hey, man, they actually launched one back in 1974. The button was hit, but, UFOs were there. And
Yeah.
they shut it down. And it's like,
Yeah, it could be. It could be like, I mean, there's all kinds of ancient texts about breakaway civilizations at some point and how did they get their information, and if something could hop, like maybe it didn't have the intelligence itself, but it could hop across, it could wormhole. It at least had that ability, or to come out and look at the timeline. It could just pick up little bits of information and then disperse that along the way to like accelerate the information forward, and it can kind of like play with the timeline a bit. Because I mean, if it just, well, here's the so there's two possibilities. One, it gets kind of crazy and gets exponential too fast. Like they could pull information out and then disperse it into the past to accelerate human progression or whatever, or maybe not progression but consciousness, to speed it up. But then it's like you just go to the end or like so far advanced and then drop that in the past, and then you'd be in like.
see, I have a problem with time travel, period.
Yeah.
Just because and I've heard this before, it's like if time travel gets invented at any point in the future, instantaneously people will be going back in time. Like it'll be like all the time, right? Because think about it. Let's say tomorrow time travel becomes invented. The first person's going to go back in time, and like there's eventually it's going to get to a point to where like tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, we will all have visited the past in time machines. Does that make
Well,
sense?
DeGrasse Tyson says can't go back. You can only go forward.
Well, DeGrasse Tyson's a
Well,
liar. I
just
could prove it. I could prove it.
let's ride with that for a second. If time travel,
Freemason, a Freemason.
if you can only jump forward in time, how far do you jump?
Well, time's not linear, so you just jump to the past.
You jump till the past. Oh, so you jump so far that the whole universe is like and is back out, and you jump. That's interesting. If you had the option to go forward or back, what would you do
I would go back.
first? Like you can only pick one. You either go back or you go forward.
Do I get one?
You get one jump.
trip and one
You get
jump.
one
I'm
jump.
going back to 2009, and I'm putting every single pen. I'm living on people's couches. I'm living on everybody's couches. I'm going to be that guy for like 5 years, and I'm putting every penny I find in the freaking dirt into Bitcoin. That's what I'm doing, and I'm cashing out in like right now. What is it at $100,000? And I'd be a trillionaire. And then I'm moving to Mars with Elon.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That'd be kind of tight. I don't know. Part of me would want to jump to the future and just see how it all plays out. But then another part of me is like, I want to see the beginning. I want to jump as far back as possible. I want to jump back to pyramids, like whoever really built them. I want to see the friggin' golden caps. I want to see whatever like Sauce Fett was and all those like just some big, like Apocalypse from X-Men just standing on the top of a pyramid. Like I want to just see that. Like what got wiped out from our history that like there's no how's there no records of what happened? It must have been so crazy to get just blotted out from human history. I want to see
I think it was systematically erased from history, man. We've talked about this before too. I think that there's the old saying like the victors write the history books, right? And I think that's partially true. I think through conquest and war over the ages, like the victors have rewritten history and whatever favored them. So I think half of it, the other half of it is it's been systematically wiped off the earth as much as possible or buried for a number of reasons, man. They can't tell us the true history of us, right? They can't tell us that we've actually been intelligently doing things for like millions of years. They have to tell us that we've been like in this anatomical form for like 250,000 years or so, and like we just started writing stuff down like, I don't know, maybe like 12,000 years ago, if we grant you some shit, right? No, I think that's garbage, dude. I think that human beings in this form have been around for millions of years, and we have literally been like developing advanced shit the whole time. And then, like I said, every so often there's a culling or natural disasters, whatever it happens, and it's just a reboot. And if they tell us that, then the questions start coming like, okay, well, like what's starting the reboots, right? Like who's in control here? Like what's going on? There's too many questions to be asked.
who's surviving all the reboots.
Right, like you were asking.
Which
before, why is it
character
always
is
these
doing second
bloodlines?
playthrough? Like,
Yeah, why is it always these same bloodlines that track through
it's like,
history?
which prestige are you, dude? Like, how are you 10th prestige and I'm first? And you're acting like this is your first playthrough.
Yeah, man.
You got diamond all the guns. Yeah.
Well, you see like the Sphinx in Egypt, right? And this is just a theory, but like, I've heard it thrown around that the Sphinx wasn't a pharaoh's head, that it was a lion, right? The whole thing
Yes,
was a
I
lion
heard
head.
that.
And it's facing where if it's facing a direction that when Leo was last in the sky, which is like some shit that the ancient Egyptians would do, right? They would point the lion at Leo in the rising sun or whatever, in the rising sky, however they did it. And that would have been like 30,000 years ago or whatever the number is. And then you look at the weathering on the Sphinx enclosure, and it's like that's like thousands of years of water erosion. Well, that's impossible because it's a desert and it's only been there for a couple of thousand years, right? So then it's like, well, maybe it has been there for 30,000 years and it has been eroded by water because 30,000 years ago it was a jungle in the Sahara, right? So
Nobody builds a palace and a whole world culture where there's no water. And in a desert, it's always in some oasis, river, plenty of water, plenty of greenery, all that stuff. It was definitely a jungle for sure, which kind of crazy. I always wondered when I was a kid, my dad would be reading me Bible stories and stuff. And I'm like, I something just never felt right about the slaves building pyramids. I'm like, what was so bad that the world had to be flooded or whatever? But then when archaeologists were like, actually, the pyramids have water erosion on them, I'm like, I knew those things got flooded, dude. I knew they were predated all that stuff. I knew it. Absolutely knew it. Just something in the bottom of my soul was like, there's just no way, dude. Those things have to be older than Egyptians and people carrying rocks and mud. Like it's too
you
crazy.
can't even cut some of those stones with like the copper tools that they're supposed to be using.
No,
The
are you
copper
kidding me?
Won't cut those stones, especially to the precision that they're used. Slaves didn't build those pyramids. That's bullshit.
No.
Highly skilled craftsmen built those pyramids.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the question is then,
and they're not mummy tombs.
no, they're not. There's never been mummies found in those pyramids.
Now, I think they said there's more mummies that have been found in the United States than have been anywhere else in the world.
There's a lot of mounds in the
A lot of
United States.
mummies are actually U.S.
lot of-
mummies.
There's a lot of Native American mounds in North America. Most of them haven't even been discovered yet, right? And these mounds are like burial mounds for a lot of these tribes. And rumor has it, and I've actually seen a lot of articles from like the late 1800s and the early 1900s where they talk about when they were first starting to dig these mounds up back then, right? Because 1800s, right? People were wild. They were digging shit up everywhere. So they were digging up these mounds and they were finding giants. They were finding like all these like normal sized humans that would be like circled around with their heads pointed towards the center of the mound. And in the center of the mound would be like a 12, 15 foot skeleton.
Oh my God, dude.
Giants. Yeah.
So
it's
those
like,
Nephilim, dude.
So those are
Those
around.
Anunnakis, bro.
If you look around and you bring a shovel, you might find one because there's, like I said, most of them haven't even been discovered or nothing. They're just there.
That's wild, dude. We've covered some of the bones on episodes before.
Yeah.
Some of those giant bones that they find.
Yeah, we
in,
did that
like-
episode that time. Remember, I was pulling up that book that had all those like newspaper clippings from like
Yeah.
1905, 1874, like whatever it was, and it was like Farmer Dan dug up a 19-foot.
a
You know,
a
it's
dang
like,
femur bone. It's like,
Yeah, and it's like, why would you be writing this in the,
yeah, the San Francisco Gazette in 1814.
Right. And then at that same time period is when there was like the Great Bone Wars, these two archaeologists that were specifically looking for a theorized dinosaur bone. None of it had been found. And they were like these two guys, they're like, yeah, man, we think there might have been dinosaurs. And they were like at it. And they were like sabotaging each other's dig sites and like all this kinds of stuff. And then
Yeah, man.
sure enough, one of the two is one of the ones who finds the first dinosaur bones. And
Just
like,
so
they-
happens.
just so happens to be right around the same period when they were digging up all of these giant bones. that
And
they were
also,
digging up.
none of the bones are in the right layer. I mean, you start looking at like what layer they actually found them in, and they're like, "Oh, this is Jurassic," and it's like you didn't find that in a freaking Jurassic layer. You found that almost on the surface. You found it in a river.
Yeah,
That crap should be way down there.
it should be
I found it in a
over.
dang river. Yeah, it found it in a dang riverbed. Can't be that old. I don't know, man. That's the one thing, man. The dinosaurs. I'm way more on dinosaurs are fake than space is fake. You can get me on dinosaurs is fake pretty easily. Or maybe dinosaurs were not roaming the earth. Maybe they were a phenomenon.
I don't know what it was. Dragons, perhaps. I don't know what it
They're
was.
freaky animals, dude. There's freaky animals now.
Yeah, there was definitely some stuff that was walking around that was huge. I
But
can
like
say that.
packs and packs and packs of raptors and I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's crazy to think about.
What's
So
the
what-
correlation? I don't
correlation?
know. I don't know what coral is. It's on like a reef or something. I think they're doing pretty good right now. I heard the corals are coming back, man.
I don't know what the correlation is to what. I don't remember what we were talking about before dinosaurs.
The Coriolis effect.
Were we talking about fake history or something?
Maybe. Anyway, you asked a question at the end of the pod, so that's sucks to suck. Sorry, Maria. Hop in earlier next time.
Get exposed. All right, anyways, yeah, end of the pod. That was good. We'll do it next week. And if you're
We might be moving the times, guys. Just a heads up, it's a PSA because I don't know how often we post on that kind of crap. We might be moving the pod to a different day. I don't know. Talks. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try to get on a instead of a Tuesday schedule, a different day schedule, and maybe get a bit earlier.
Yeah, try to
Maybe.
get that way we could do. I like doing the 2 hours because we could do like the free and then the Patreon. I like that. I like that.
Dinosaurs. Whoa, that's a big
Oh,
one.
giants and dinosaurs. Oh, I'll break
Yeah.
it down for you real quick, Maria. So basically,
No.
Oh, you just glitched out.
Oh, did
Oh, you're glitching out for the first time.
I?
ever.
No.
We start talking about dinosaurs and
Oh, I think my computer is actually about to go to sleep.
oh, okay.
I think.
Um,
They can come back. They come back next time, Maria.
Oh.
Let's put a thing around there.
Google it.
Wow, I am glitched up.
Yeah, you're glitching out bad. All right, listen, we're gonna shut it down. That's
for
it.
watching.
Bye. Appreciate it. Shut it down. You got the controls.
All right.